just using my professional tools in order to go deeper on the question. What are you presenting now is a new vision of European Union, but I would like, because we are now in an academic context, I would like to go back to the origins of European Union, thinking what happened after World War II that destroyed this part of the world and destroyed our states. And when we went out from the war, the concept, the basic concept of European Union and the men and women that built it were to go on in peace, trying through democracy, through scientific diplomacy, that I would like to highlight this, to go on trying to face against dangers and against undemocratic behavior. Then, just speaking as an Italian, we can say that in our Constitution, Article number 11, we have a very strong statement that we have to face with it. Just listen to you today in the morning, and our article said that Italy rejects war. So, what's your question?
What's your question?
My question is, why you don't speak anymore about peace strategies, diplomacy of science? Today I have listened only about military strategies, defense strategies, education to war, and so on. I perfectly understand, but I would like also to listen to something other.
Thank you so much for your question, and we have already a response. Constantine.
Well, since I preached confrontation, thanks for your applause. It actually revs me up a little bit. Madam, peace is a very good concept. No one is ever against peace. But the problem is that it's a very deceptive concept. And it depends on the context. So, when today, by the way, exactly, I'm sorry I mentioned Ireland so much, but the lady who's probably going to be the President of Ireland, and actually the current person there too, they all speak about peace all the time. Somehow it always means that you have to give land to Putin and we will all live in wonderful peace. I think that peace can only come with justice, truth, and basically respect for especially the victims, those who are on the receiving side of aggression. And in this respect, we can remember that, for example, the Helsinki Accords in 1975, yes, they achieved certain peace and stability in Europe, not for a long time, but still. But that was because there was a truly sincere desire among all the leaders of all the countries that took part in the Helsinki Accords to achieve, well, essentially a compromise, which would be honorable and which will give something to each side. So no one is against peace, but I think today it depends on where you are in Europe, or by the way in Asia. If you're in Taiwan, you can achieve peace by surrendering to the Chinese, but probably it's not such a great idea. So I'd say that we should be very, very careful with the concept of peace and look at each case specifically and not generalize about it. Thank you very much.
Okay, Vidaldas?
It's a very valuable question. I appreciate that. You know, we must be proud how much Europe has achieved thanks to European integration. And that's from the Rome Treaty up till nowadays. You know, the integration between Germany and France was meant to avoid the war on European soil. That's what economic, political integration helped to achieve. The peace dividend also played a big role because it was not only European Union, it was also America and NATO. And NATO's, you know, raison d'être has been, I mean, Germans down, Russians out, Americans in. Thirdly, I've been myself on the front lines of scientific and educational diplomacy in Moscow as European Union ambassador in 2013 and 2017, and of course you may remember that. And even after Crimea, illegal occupation of Crimea and the war in Donbass, I was still advocating to maintain the bridges with the Academic Society of Russia. I mean, some may remember that. And we managed to even increase the budget from 15 to 35 billion euros for student exchange. Russia was most active participant of Horizon project, etc. But with all due respect, it went away. This did not help. This did not deter Putin to launch a conventional war against independent, sovereign, neighboring country, Ukraine. Continuing subjugating, with the aim to subjugating the country, but also conducting hybrid attacks in continental Europe and UK and in our countries. So that brings, and I hope you will share that opinion, that while achieving the peace on the continent among EU member states, we are still facing the threat from outside of the European Union, a different threat. And if Trump's actions and Putin's, aggressive actions did not help us to understand that we have to go beyond and become not only economic, political, but also defensive unity, then we have a deep problem. If we don't move into the defense union of European Union, and maybe not all the countries will get in, maybe Italy will want to abstain from that. And that's where I think the coalition of the willing, or what Emmanuel Macron, before he used to speak about multi-speed Europe, I believe that's going to be the future of that, and each country will. But I think without defense union, we will continue to watch how Trump and Putin defines the future of Europe and Ukraine, which is a shame for European Union, which is a shame for every European. We have to be at the table, and we have to shape the future for the sake of our security and economic well-being.
Okay, thank you so much, Vigaldas. I'll pass the floor to Andres.
Okay, just a short reaction, because actually you're putting your finger on something that has also been trotting around in my head, and I'll have perhaps a sort of middling position. I'll try. Of course, the word peace, Konstantin alluded to that, has been weaponized, and that's nothing new. It's happened in the peace movement in the 1980s, being for peace. Of course, everybody's for peace, but it was also always a bit being for the Soviet Union, being for. It's nothing new. For me, it's nothing new that the word peace is being weaponized by some people. But as academics, we need to be watchful. We need to really analyze the words that we use, as journalists as well, of course. And I hope, I'm listening to everybody, and I hope that the word pacifism is not on its way to become a sort of insult, because there's actually something very valuable in that. The European Union got the Nobel Prize for Peace some years ago, as you know, and very well deserved. So that's also in our tradition. And actually, when I was listening to the Vice Minister of Defense of Lithuania this morning, who said that the kindergarten children are now playing with drones, and as a good practice, I thought, well, I hope they also paint flowers and somebody reads books to them and maybe they invent stories themselves. So I think, middling position. In the educational sector, I think we need to prepare for war. That's something we can learn from Ukraine and the Baltic states and the Nordic states, so more exposed and more aware of the risk. But we also need to prepare for peace. And I think that's a transition also to, not yet, but we have another panel about mental health. As somebody who's grown up in the Cold War, I think we need to, and we already have this enormous mental health epidemic among young people. We already have anxiety about the future of the planet. Now anxiety about war is coming back in the middle of Europe, so we really need to watch out there and sort of balance perhaps a bit the war and the peace discourse, but both are important.
I'm mindful that we have around 5 minutes left, and therefore, if possible, I would like to take